Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into the second episode of our How to Get a Data Analyst Job workshop series. Our focus today is going to be on educational pathways and essential data analyst skills. If you are just joining us and you haven't seen the first video, I highly recommend that you go back and check that out first. You'll find the link in the description or see it on the top somewhere on the screen right now. That is where we conduct a thorough skill and learning style assessment, and this is key to understanding today's video. First, we're going to explore different educational pathways for aspiring data analysts, including university degrees, boot camps, and self-study options. And then we're going to dive into the pros and cons of each one, helping you understand which path might be the best fit for you based on your personal preferences and learning style. Then we're going to shift our focus to a crucial aspect of your career development, which is comparing your current skill set with the essential skills needed for a data analyst. This is where we bridge the gap between where you are right now and where you want to be skill-wise to succeed in the field. So grab your notes from our last session and let's get started. So the first thing I want to start out with is look at the different educational pathways that you can take, some of the different options. Let's talk our way through this, and then we will jump into some of the pros and cons, and then I want to try and show you guys how do I connect my personal results from the assessment to these different things, and how I would think differently based on what are my results and how I analyze those insights that I have from that. But if we start from the top, the three different main educational options that people usually think about is university degrees, boot camps, or self-studying. So, boot camps, traditional academic route with a comprehensive curriculum, long-term commitment, often spanning several years, and it's ideal for roles that needs a lot of theoretical knowledge, like data scientists or business intelligence developers. Boot camps, more intensive, short-term focus on, very focused on practical hands-on learning, emphasis on current industry skills and quick application. If you already have some skills or you're already in an industry and you know that very well, a boot camp can be a technical bridge to combine those two together. Best suited for roles needing immediate practical skills like data analysts. Then we have self-study, which is more completely self-directed learning using free or paid sources. Requires a high self-motivation and discipline, suitable for self-motivated individuals aiming for roles like data analysts. And yeah, you can see under each one I have an example of a degree from Columbia, a degree from a data analyst bootcamp at Springboard, and then the Google Analytics professional certificate. So if we then go into each one and look at some of the pros and cons, and then we can actually just take a sneak peek at the actual resources also that I have linked here. So if you think about university degrees, what is good is that it's comprehensive and there's in-depth knowledge. There's X number of subjects that you'll be taking. You have a prolonged period to learn about those, and you can also decide a little bit yourself what you want to go into depending on where you want your focus to be. So that's great. Recognized credentials, which can open up a lot of different opportunities and doors. Some companies, they want you to have that master's. Some company wants you to have that bachelor's. And if it's a relevant degree, it's just a natural connection. We all know how this works. Access to networking, internships, and campus resources. So if you're watching this and you're in college, definitely leverage that. And then, of course, because this happens over a longer period of time, development of a strong theoretical foundation. The downside is that a lot of people who wants to get into the data-related job market or field today is that, they maybe not have several years to complete a degree. It can also be quite expensive without a scholarship, financial aid. And sometimes you'll see that it actually doesn't focus on the latest, tools and techniques that are in the industry. You're taking a program, and some of the stuff is outdated, and you might not know because you're there to learn it. So you just don't have that experience. You simply don't know any better yet. And sometimes I've seen some programs that are quite practical and hands-on, but also I've seen some that has less emphasis on the practicality and the hands-on experience in some programs. So if you want to see what a educational degree could look like, I can show you guys one example. So the one that I have linked to in the presentation is this one, which is a master's in data science at Columbia University. And like I said, it go over time. It's at Columbia University, so they have it has a strong reputation. There is career opportunities, networking, etc. They have all of that. Where are they working today? Data science is a very sought after job these days, and a lot of companies really want to leverage it. So of course, people who go through a program like this will get a lot of opportunities. Like I mentioned, you can take some different courses. They go over semesters, so you have time. They're quite thorough. You have computer science, engineering, statistics, and then you have a lot of electives where you can go into more stuff that you're interested in. So this shows, of course, the benefits of a degree, but it also depends, of course, where are you? Are you mid-career, or are you starting out? Are you in college? There's a lot of factors here where this might be the right thing or it might not be the right thing. If we then take a look at the next options, that is boot camps. And I've seen more and more boot camps actually pop up, and I've seen that it's gained some popularity. So let's also go through some of the pros and cons to taking a boot camp. Now, the first thing, which is quite good, is that it is intensive and it is focused on current industry needs. You set up a specific amount of time, and there is a certain agenda and schedule, which is of course very useful, because then you have sort of a guidance, you have a pathway. So that's great. Shorter duration, which means that when you finish with that, there's you get quicker, you progress quicker towards starting to actually trying to get into the job market. So allowing quicker entry into the job market. Often they actually focus on practical projects, portfolio building. Boot camps, they might have, because it's a shorter period, the curriculum might be more intensive and focused. It's also easier to update it and change it. And I've seen some of them offer job guarantees or career services, which is great. But I also do think that has to be taken with a certain pinch of salt, and stay pragmatic about the whole thing. A little bit on the downside, it can be quite intense and challenging. It's not necessarily easy to learn how to work in the world of data. Significant commitment. You might not get that deep into the theoretical knowledge, which a degree will give you. So especially data science might not be the best thing to try and learn through a boot camp over a short period of time. Recognition and credibility can also vary quite compared to traditional degrees, depending on the school that offers it and how long they've been doing it. And of course, quality and outcomes can also be very different. I haven't added it here, but I've also seen some boot camps can be quite expensive. So that's also something to think about. But still a valid option for some people, and I know a lot of people take boot camps and they're very happy with it, because they get exactly that last piece that they're missing over a specific time period, and then they get on to trying to get into the actual market. So like with the previous example, let's take a look at another one, which in this case is a boot camp. This is a data analytics boot camp in partnership with Microsoft, offered by Springboard. So you can see some of the things here, job guarantee, mentorship, career coach. So they make it quite evident that someone will help you along the way, which is great to have that, especially have someone to lean on during a short period of time to kind of make sure you're on track on the right stuff at the right time. So if you look at some of the other pointers, graduate in 6 months, part-time, high demand field of data analytics. You have a mentor that you can ask stuff about, one-on-one coaching, 100% online. Focus on practical skills, problem solving. If we scroll down, you can see a little bit more about the curriculum. Excel, financial analysis, economics for data analysis, statistics, tools, storytelling. So, Python projects, it looks like it's quite thorough, and there's a lot of different topics here. But again, I do think you need to really be able to set aside some time for something like this. And I do think it's quite intensive. It looks very good, and I do think it is quite quite good if you find the right one. But of course, a lot of this stuff you can also find online, and then when we go into the prices, it does get somewhat pricey. We then take a look at the last option, which I think a lot of people are trying to do this at least in the beginning, and then things might get a little bit tough. As you get into it, you don't know which way to go, which direction to take, and that is the self-study path. So of course, highly flexible and can be tailored to your needs and pace, which is great. If you have the patience and you know how to make sure that you're looking at the right stuff depending on where you are, it can be very good. Often more affordable, even free. YouTube, online sources. There's so much out there, but you kind of have to understand how to put it in the right order, and then what to focus on, and then not at least how to sell it and present it is also very important. Allows for targeted learning on specific tools or skills. Again, focus on what you need. Good for self-motivated individuals and continuous learners. Of course, you have to have a high degree of self-motivation to go down this path. On the downside, it does need a lot of discipline. Like I said, self-motivation. I'm repeating that, but it is very important. Not that much structure on the learning path, which can be difficult for some of you out there. You just prefer to have it presented and do it in this order, and then that will complement you a lot more. Formal recognition is not there unless you take some certificates. I think that can be a very good thing to do, especially if it's software certifications. We know there's Tableau certifications, Power BI certifications. I think that's very useful. And then depending on yourself, it might be a little bit limited access to networking opportunities and mentorship. But we do have some great self-study, self-paced courses out there. One that I know that a lot of people enjoy is the Google has one, so I want to show you guys that one also. So this is the one that I was talking about, the Google Data Analytics Professional Certificate. It's quite a lot of people have enrolled there. You can see it estimates at 6 months, 10 hours a week, flexible schedule, very highly rated. And then when you go down and look a little bit at the skills, data analysis, SQL, cleansing, portfolio, it's quite good. I think to get through this, it takes time and definitely takes some dedication. But if you can get through this and actually finish it and do that, and then maybe even fill in some more parts on some of the topics, add some more on some of the topics, I think it can be very useful. So before starting to talk about the skills that you need as a data analyst, now we've spoken about the different pathways. Let's try and think about what we just spoke about and try and connect it back to this assessment. And this is the assessment that I did based on where I am today. Maybe when I started out, this would of course have been a lot more different because I've been working in this for almost a decade now, but still, there are still some shortcomings that I have. And a lot of it falls on statistics and more advanced analytics on a theoretical level, because I've been in those projects, but I just haven't needed to really get into those because there's someone else that is doing that. But even if we look at this, let's imagine that I wanted to get very good at that now. So I wouldn't go back and take a whole degree because I'm in the industry. I know that I will be part of practical stuff where I will be able to apply it. So maybe I would take a self-study course, or maybe a bootcamp if I really wanted to get good at it. I think when I look at the cost of the bootcamp, I would probably try and find an online, cheaper self-study, self-paced course that I might do while I am going through a project. I might just look at this and then start to think about, okay, how does this fit and connect to what I'm working on currently in this project? But what you should try and look here and see is, depending on where your strengths are. If you're very good at problem solving, business acumen, communication, some of the softer stuff, then I think you just need to figure out, do I want to do a boot camp, which is, you know, over a specific set of time, and that will maybe help me move into a data analyst role, or do I work at a company where I know that there is a data department, there might be some opportunities. Then you might want to self-study, and while you get better at the business where you are, then you can do self-study, and you can try and either make your role more data-driven, and then slowly try to kind of move over to that, or self-study quite a bit, take the knowledge that you know about the business from where you are, and jump somewhere else. If you're just starting out and you're in college, then maybe you want to, then you're going to do the degree option. So then you want to try and figure out as soon as possible, what are the different courses that I want to take that maybe aligns with jobs where you need a lot of theoretical knowledge, such as data scientists, maybe some data warehousing concept for business intelligence developers, so that you're kind of getting out of your system some of the things that might take quite a bit of time to build that theoretical foundation. And then later, that, hey, if you have that, then you can pivot a lot more towards data science, data analysis, because some of these skills are easier to pick up and more practical, while some of them might take more time in terms of theory. And then, if you're going for more data analyst and you haven't worked at that before, and you haven't really landed something relevant to that, then the bootcamp versus the self-study. I think that someone who can be disciplined enough and kind of self-study the right way can do a lot of the same stuff that you do in a bootcamp. But then I think you need to be more proactive on the networking and joining communities and doing that stuff on your own, because that is not something that will just come to you. That's something that you'll kind of have to figure out on your own time and stuff. So one thing is in terms of skills, and then you should also try and think about the learning style that you have. Like, I got quite high on bootcamp / self-study, and I think that's because where I am in my career, it really comes down to that is what fits into how things are right now for me. I even think taking a bootcamp could be too intensive for me, because I just wouldn't have that specific time blocked out to do that, and I don't really feel the need to do it. But self-study is something that I already do, and I continuously have to self-study. So if I were to maybe go into a data scientist, much more data scientist-ish role, then maybe I would have to consider a bootcamp. But as long as I am where I am right now, self-study is fine, because then I can take it a little bit as I go. If we then try to think about the type of skills that you need as a data analyst, and how are those covered in those 3 different types of learning pathways, then let's start off with technical skills. And I've written here, technical skills: data management, analysis, visualization. Involves proficiency in handling databases, analyzing data using statistical tools, and visualizing data insights. So it's quite a few different topics here, depending on what type of role you want. But I would say that technical skills, if you take a university degree, it's often covered quite comprehensively, especially if it is a data science or analytics program. You might have to choose one of those special electives to get really, really into it, but it is covered quite comprehensively, and you have time on your side. You can do it over time. If we look at boot camps, it's more intensively focused, but it's a lot more practical application over a short period of time, because that will of course help you quite a bit. But then I think you need to be more critical to which boot camp is it that I select. Look at your assessment. Are you good at if you're not good at Excel, if that's kind of your black spot, and you're very good at Power BI, then I don't think taking a boot camp where you do a lot of SQL and Power BI might be the right thing to kind of fill that out, obviously. So be a little bit critical about the boot camp and really look at the different topics, and you should probably ask, okay, what are the tools, what are the skills, can I get some more in-depth information here, because you don't have time on your side as you do with a university degree during the bootcamp period. And then of course the self-study option for technical skills, online courses, tutorials, YouTube, communities, a lot more flexibility to learn those different skills that we have mentioned there, but of course you have to be able to stay extra disciplined and structured then. The next skill that I wanted to touch on is analytical skills. So here I've written statistical analysis, critical thinking, and just interpreting data. So, really the ability to apply, if you want to do data science, statistical methods, be critical to the data that you see, and then of course understand complex data sets. All these are quite important. It just depends on how deep you have to go depending on the role. So of course, university degrees scores high on this, extensively covered, a lot of different subjects you can choose between, especially statistics, data science, a lot of subjects that might need theoretical knowledge over time. University degrees and time will always be a good combination. Again, bootcamps, it's covered here also with, again, the practical application stands high here. And I said it before, it's the same as with the technical skills. Make sure that you really understand what the bootcamp is about then. Understand the curriculum, maybe contact some people who have taken it before if possible, and tell them, hey, I want this type of role, I want this type of skill set, this is where my gap is. Do you think I will get that covered through this bootcamp? And I think this one is just like technical skills. Of course, it can be learned through online courses, but I think the degree of self-discipline is even a little bit higher here, because now you start going to application, evaluation, and complex data sets. And it's always not that easy to find that online, and it's hard to kind of determine how difficult a data set is, or how complex it is when you find it online, because a lot of the data sets that you find online aren't exactly that realistic, to be honest. But these are analytical skills that you do need as a data professional and as a data analyst. And this is a little bit how it ties into those different ways of achieving these types of skills. The next skill on the list, which I think is quite important, is business acumen. Now we're talking industry knowledge, business intelligence in terms of actual understanding the business, not business intelligence as in technical BI, and then decision making. And I've written here, involves understanding the business context, aligning data analysis with business goals, and making informed decisions based on data. And this is now things starts to open up a little bit depending on your previous experience and what your goal is. Because here, taking a university degree will not necessarily help you with this, because it'll be a lot of conceptual cases, it'll be a lot of demo cases, a lot of demo data sets, and you just haven't really started to get your feet wet yet, which is as expected, which will start when you start to actually work for a company. But you can't, if this is something that you fell short on, you don't take a university degree to improve your business acumen in terms of understanding business. That a lot of that will come with hands-on knowledge. And it's a little bit the same with boot camps, sometimes included, especially in industry-specific programs. So if you have found a boot camp which is for financial analysis, or a boot camp for a financial data analyst, or maybe health or engineering or something like that, then this should bridge it somewhat, and help you out with getting more specific, which is great, because there's a lot of data analyst jobs out there now, but there's also a lot of people competing for it. So the more specific you can be, the higher degree, or the higher chances that you'll be more relevant for some of those roles. Self-study, I've written here, requires targeted learning and staying updated with industry trends. And here, I think this one is hard to do when you self-study, because if you're working in the business, you're already working in an industry, and that's the industry that you want to work as a data analyst in, then of course you should already have some of this business acumen, and this is great because you can supplement. But if you haven't worked as a data analyst and you're trying to get into it in a business that or industry that you know nothing about, then it can be quite a leap. So then it might be good to do self-study, but focus a little bit more on the maybe project management, technical skills, and communication, and then just be open and transparent about that. Okay, but I don't know this industry that well, but I can learn that, but I'm bringing all these other skill sets. And when all that comes together, it will be very, very, very useful and very powerful to have all of that together. The last skill that I think is important to discuss is soft skills. And this is one that almost anyone can work on, no matter where you are in your career. If you're starting out, you know, as a student, if you are trying to pivot, or if you're already working at a company and you're just trying to get a job in that place, this is a good one, because soft skills, you know, communication, collaboration, and time management is very important in the world of data, because you know you're still working on projects, you're trying to get stuff out on time, and there's a lot of different people that you might have to deal with. So if you can communicate well with people, if you can collaborate well, and you can manage time well, then this is a big one. And I've written there, critical for effectively communicating data insights, working in teams, and managing projects. And this is one you can work on no matter where you are, and this can be a big benefit for you, again, no matter where you are. So if you are in a university, of course, group projects and presentations, you know, take those presentations, join those group projects, and try not to hold back there, because this is one that you can develop early and be really good for you, and a way for you to stand out when you meet people and, you know, career, you know, those fairs and interviews and networking, internships and those types of opportunities. You'll also get some of this through boot camps, but you know, if you think, you know, you take the assessment and you look, maybe you're a little bit short on soft skills, you know, I wouldn't want to take a boot camp and focus and think that, okay, I'm going to use this boot camp to improve my soft skills, and that is kind of like my main focus. It's something you should definitely focus on, but it should be a byproduct. So I've written there that given the collaborative nature of the programs, you know, then this might be something that you improve through that. But then again, you have to figure out, okay, the bootcamp, how many projects do we have, and how do we collaborate on them in that case, and then try and think about that versus where some of your weak spots might be on soft skills, and how to leverage the bootcamp for that. But because the bootcamp, you know, specific time frame, a lot of stuff to learn, I would want to focus on other things than, you know, mainly soft skills during that period. The last one, self-study. I think for soft skills, for sure, you know, it requires proactive efforts such as participating in online communities or group projects. I think participating in online communities and maybe reach out to each other and ask for feedback and discussions can be a great way to try and work a little bit on this, but also just in terms of trying to present maybe your portfolio projects to each other, explain how you collaborated, explain how you would spend your time to go through different phases is a good way for working on this if you're on the self-study path. If we go back to the assessment, and let's bring some of those, I'm going to paste in the different skills that I spoke about there at the end, and technical skills, analytical skills, business acumen, and soft skills. So data visualization falls a little bit in between technical and analytical skills, and you know that I think I score quite good on. And then, you know, as we go downwards here, communication, problem solving, business acumen, tools proficiency, you know, those things are I think I'm quite up there. But as we look at machine learning, programming for data analysis, statistical thinking, which, you know, all this falls somewhere between technical skills and analytical skills, that's where I start to fall down now a little bit. But I think it's good to look at this this chart and try and connect your different skills towards the different ones that I mentioned that are essential to master as a data analyst. And again, start to ask yourselves, okay, hey, you know, within the skills, you know, what is the gap? You know, can I find an online source for this? Can I self-study this? Is it something that needs a lot of time? You know, am I more on just applicability, practice? I know the skills, I've taken the theory, I just need to apply it. Do I need to find it, go through it? And kind of how can you kind of make this visualization look a little bit more complete? if I was going for data scientist roles, I would definitely have some work to do over here, but because that's not my main focus, then that's not where I put up most of my effort. A lot of the time that I spent was really to get good at data visualization, different tools within that, data analysis fundamentals, more back-end stuff, which aligns very well with my more soft skills and business acumen skills, has really kind of complemented it and been able to take me towards more of a managerial role. But if I wanted to be a data scientist manager, then I would need to definitely work on statistical thinking and programming a lot more to be able to take that domain. So as we did in the previous episode, I have 2 questions that I want you to think about, reflect, and ask yourself. The first one is based on the self-assessment that we did in the first episode. Which educational pathway best suits your learning style and schedule? And I think that's just very important because this is a marathon, and you have to think about the time and the dedication, and there's life and there's other stuff that happens. So try and find a schedule and style which fits you so that you can do it over a longer period of time. The next thing you should reflect about is, how does the skills you currently have align with the requirements of a data analyst roles? Where are your highs? Where are your lows? Can you work on these simultaneously, or is it some of them that you can combine? Do some of them really stand out so much that can kind of put you ahead of a lot of other applicants, and then just be transparent and say, but hey, I'm not that good at this part, but that I will work on while you as a company or wherever, if you're trying to get a job, you get these benefits, but this I have to work on. Then ask yourself that also, how do you currently measure up? And that brings us to the end of today's episode. We've covered a lot of ground today, exploring different educational pathways and comparing your current skill set with the essential skill sets needed in data analysis. Remember, the choice of educational path is a personal one, and you should align it with your learning style, your career goals, and the skill you need to develop. Reflect on the pros and cons we discussed, and consider how each option fits into your unique journey. And don't forget about the skill set comparison. Understanding where you stand in relation to the skills needed in the field is crucial for your growth and success as a data analyst. So use the insights gained today to plan your next steps in skill development. I'd love to hear your thoughts and decisions based on today's episode. Which educational path are you considering? How do you plan to bridge the gap in your skills? So share some of those reflections in the comments below, and then I would love to give you some feedback there. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll dive into the world of data analysis tools and portfolio development. We'll be looking at the key tools that you need to know and how to build a portfolio that showcases your skills and projects. Thank you for joining me today. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.